Yes, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I hope you're all keeping wonderfully well. Of course, at the weekend, competitive action in both Gaelic football and hurling returned. And of course, in this video, we will look over all the results, all the reaction to everything that happened in both club football and hurling, looking at some of the scores, some of the fan reaction, and of course, some of the big moments that you needed to see, of course, in regards to both Gaelic football and hurling. Now, of course, first of all, if you could do me a favour and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, I would kindly appreciate it. I mean, look, listen, it's great to obviously see some competitive action return in both Gaelic football and hurling. We no longer need to look at matches from 1986 or look at constant replays that have been shown on RTE and Tina G4. We can finally now see some actual live matches take place. And I mean, look, listen, we'll start with the game, of course, on Friday. St. Martin's 5-19, Ullart the Balag 3-16. I mean, what a game this was between these two clubs in the Wexford County Championship. I mean, just an outstanding game of hurling. 8 goals, red cards, penalties, just insane drama all over the pitch. Some, top class performances from players on both sides. And look, listen, I was highly impressed, of course, with Jake Furman. I mean, he scored a hat-trick. He actually scored 3 goals and 2 points. I thought his forward play, cutting in from the inside line, was absolutely fantastic. Of course, Jack O'Connor as well. We were speaking about him in one of my previous videos. I thought he was outstanding as well. I mean, he scored 2-9 in this game, 2-5 in fact from place balls, which I thought was outstanding. And I mean, look, listen, Ullart the Balag gave a great game as well. Billy Dunn, I thought, done very well, scored 1-9 in the game. And they, it was difficult for both teams in many ways. You have to remember that for a lot of these teams, they've only got back to training in the past couple of weeks. Certainly match fitness isn't quite there. And I think defensively for both teams, they just weren't quite up to the standards that you'd want to see. I think some other players worth mentioning. Rory O'Connor, I thought he done very well in the midfield, winning a lot of the midfield battles. Supporting the attack a lot of the time, and he contributed with a couple of points as well. He actually scored 3 points in the game. Kieran Ling the same as well. But what we'll actually do here is we'll have a look at an image on screen here right now, of course, and this is actually a post that was put up from GAA Statsman. If you aren't following him on Instagram, I would suggest to go and do so. You can see some stats here in regards to the game. So St. Martin's, of course, 5 goals, 3 of them from play, 2 of them from penalties, and as we said before, 14 of their 19 points from play. 10 wides in the game compared to Ullart the Balag, who hit 7 wides, 35 shots, 24 scored, 68% conversion rate. And to be fair to Ullart the Balag, I mean, if we look at them, they actually had a 70% conversion rate. So I think if you're looking at the stats, you would probably say that maybe Ullart the Balag didn't create enough in this game going forward. And certainly in probably the last 5 to 10 minutes or so, it looked like it was a straight shootout in terms of goals. It looked like that was the only interest on both teams. Perhaps because they identified that actually defensively both sides were quite weak and probably not up to the standard just yet, maybe because of lack of fitness. Okay, so if we have a look at some fan reaction here in regards to that St. Martin's win, Padraig Byrne says some performance from Jack O'Connor, big win for St. Martin's GAA, and nice to be able to watch it on Tina G4 Sport. And absolutely great to see some live action, great to see some matches taking place, and what a game to watch. I mean, just pure entertainment, pure brilliant, exciting hurling. Exactly what you want to see. Dammit Marty, or Marty Dammit, says the water break is going to take some getting used to. Absolutely, it will take some getting used to, especially at the start. I do think it's the right decision though. Clubs and a lot of these players have only been training 3-4 weeks. I mean, we've seen some of the weather during the weekend. I mean, look, listen, I got sunburned, as you can probably see. So for a lot of these players, I'd imagine it was very difficult playing in that kind of weather, and certainly having the water break in place makes a lot of sense. Liam Dunn says there's one hell of a game of hurling live on Tina G4 right now. Live hurling and lots of emojis to go with it, and absolutely just what a game to watch. To sit there and witness it take place live and just not know what was going to happen next. Just so many goals, penalties, red cards, just so much action all over the pitch, and it was absolutely outstanding to see. Mr. D here says, did someone shout goals only from the sideline or something? Absolutely makes perfect sense, that tweet. especially towards the end of the game. It just looked like both teams were just going for goals. Again, I think because maybe defensively both sides just weren't quite up to the standard, particularly maybe due to fitness. I think that was one of the main reasons why both teams just kept going for goals, because I think they seen a lot of opportunity there given how much goals that both teams had already scored up until that point. But yeah, all in all, a fantastic day for GAA in my opinion. Just a fantastic day for the country to see some live GAA action, and what a game to return with. Gillian Murphy says here, great to have 2 live GAA matches to watch today. Looking forward to return of competitive action for clubs here tomorrow too. GAA being back has given so many people across the country such a big lift. Important to have something positive to focus on after a mad few months. And absolutely, Gillian, she says it perfectly there. Great to have some matches back live, and it will certainly give the country a lift, and hopefully, you know, this continues. Hopefully now we will see more action. We won't see a second spike or anything like that, and hopefully this will be a slow return of competitive GAA action, and it will lead us all the way into the All-Ireland Championship, and it does resume in October. But certainly great to see some live action return to Tina G4 and RTE, of course. Some other matches, of course, in the Wexford Hurling Championship. We'll have a look on screen here. St Anne's, Rattigan beating Rathnure very comfortably there. Very good result there for St Anne's. St Mary's and O'Rahilly's playing out a draw there, 115 to 212. Faith Harriers, of course, they got a victory over St Aidan's, so good result of course for them as well. Of course, St Martin's will be the favourites to win this. Rathnure, of course, are knocking on the door quite closely, but certainly after a performance like that from St Martin's, you would expect them to be the favourites. I mean, Ullart and Balag are their closest rivals, so very interesting game nonetheless, and a very good win that for St Martin's. Now, of course, there was another game that took place on Sunday. Kilmacud Crokes comfortably beat Ballybowden St Enda's by 14 points. What a statement put out by Kilmacud Crokes. Look, listen, coming into the game, I think a lot of people did have Kilmacud Crokes as the favourites over St Enda's, but I don't think anyone could have anticipated that Kilmacud Crokes would win the game quite comfortably. And if we have a look at a tweet that came out here from Allianz Dub Match Tracker, if you aren't following them on Twitter, I suggest you do, because they do a lot of live updates for a lot of the scores in the Dublin County Championships. And these were basically the predictions coming in before the game. So 50% of people believe that Kilmacud Crokes would get the win out of 61 votes. 11% said draw, and 37% said a win for Ballybowden. And I mean, in the end, it turned out to be a very comfortable win, of course, for Kilmacud Crokes. You know, in terms of some of the top players, of course, I mean, you would have had to look at Ronan Hayes, his 2 goals, 2 fantastic goals in that game, of course. Oisín O'Rourke hitting 7 points was outstanding. Mark Howard getting a goal and 2 points as well, contributing quite significantly. But I think for Ballybowden St Enda's, I mean, they did have some good players there. Paul Ryan, I thought, contributed quite a bit with 6 points. We have a look on image again from GAA Statsman here, who's broken down the stats between Kilmacud Crokes and Ballybowden St Enda's, and we will have a look here. And as you can see, Oisín O'Rourke with 7 points in this game. Ronan Hayes with 2 goals. Mark Howard scoring 1-2 as well. And I mean, just a phenomenal performance from Kilmacud Crokes. They really put out a real statement of intent in terms of the Dublin County Championship, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they get on now. I mean, look, listen, we'll speak about Coola in a brief moment, of course, who obviously got a victory over Thomas Davis as well, but certainly Kilmacud Crokes and Coola will probably be going neck and neck for this championship, in my opinion. Look, listen, for St Enda's, it was always a tough game. I mean, Kilmacud Crokes started very fast, and St Enda's just had to try and recover as soon as possible. Paul Ryan was keeping them within bay with 6 points, of course, but in the end, Kilmacud Crokes were significantly the winners in the end, winning quite comfortably. And I think, you know, looking through some of the stats, something that really surprised me was the amount of shots that Kilmacud Crokes had in this game. They had 38 shots in total and they scored 22, so they had a 57% conversion rate. But, you know, compared to the amount of shots they had, I mean, if they had had a bit more accuracy, this could have been an absolute whitewash in total. Some other results, of course, worth mentioning in the Dublin County Championships. There was wins, of course, for Coola. They got a 10-point win over Thomas Davis. Con O'Callaghan hit 1-4 in that game, so very impressive from him. And Coola, of course, looking to make it 5 and 6 county championships in the past couple of years, of course, so they will be looking to retain their crown, and very impressive from them. Chris Crummey, of course, he's the big influence, of course, for Lucan Sarsfields, one of the top hurlers for Dublin at the moment. He actually got injured before the lockdown, so I think post-lockdown it suited him a lot more. He was able to recover, and he was a big influence for Lucan Sarsfield's victory. Vincent's also got a win as well. Johnny Walsh and Keane McBride both netting goals in that game, so great to see them getting a victory. Owen Dunn was the influence for St. Bridget's as they beat Whitehall Colmkills. He scored 1-2 in that game, so a significant victory for St. Bridget's as well, and they will certainly be another team that is knocking on the door alongside the likes of Coola and Kilmacud Crokes as well. Some other matches, of course, worth mentioning around the country. There was a return to football action as well. There was no big games across any of the county championships, but one of the big results actually came in Wicklow. Bray Emmett secured a surprise win over Ratnew, knocking out the 2017 champions, and that was a surprise win. Ratnew, of course, caused one of the big upsets in 2017 when they knocked the Dublin champions out, of course, after Ratnew had gone and won the 2017 county championship. In Tipperary, there was a win for Galtee Rovers with a 5-point win over Cullinall, so that was a big result for them as well, and I'll be very intrigued to, of course, keep an eye on club action over the next coming week, but some good results there for both Bray Emmets and Galtee Rovers in football. Now, I did also put out a post on Instagram as well asking what did you make of this weekend's club action, who impressed the most, and these were some of the responses. So Jake Furman and Fergal Whiteley really impressed me, absolutely. Two very fantastic performances both from them. Kilmacud Crokes, of course, were getting quite a mention. I mean, after a significant 14-point win, you can understand exactly as to why everyone has them on their lips. Con O'Callaghan with Coola was something else that came in here, probably one of the players of the week alongside Jake Furman and Jack O'Connor, of course. Someone here also mentioned Clontarf Hurlers, and absolutely what a result for them. A 15-point victory over O'Toole's in their first ever senior hurling appearance. What a result for Clontarf. What a day, of course, for Clontarf GAA in particular. It was in the Senior B Hurling Championship, and they deserve a lot of credit for not just winning the game, but winning so comfortably as well, and they are certainly a club that is on the rise at the moment. Another comment came in here. So Moitir na Ogs beat Errigal Kieran, last minute goal, County Tyrone. What a result, of course, for them. So Spa managed to defeat Nemo Rangers in a challenge match. Who knows? I mean, that's very interesting. It is a challenge match. A lot of teams will be trying out different players, trying to get up to full fitness, of course, but certainly nonetheless that is an interesting result to see, even if it is just a challenge match. Now, of course, obviously with the whole return to competitive GAA action, it obviously meant that there was no fans, of course, allowed watch these games. Now, of course, there has been a lot of reports coming out from both the GAA president John Horan in regards to a lot of the restrictions in regarding to how many people will be allowed in to watch the various different games. But of course, that did not stop some people from coming and watching a lot of this various different GAA action. I mean, this was an image that was on screen right here of some fella. I mean, look, listen, fair play to him. You know, you want to watch your club in action. You know, you'll do anything to watch them, and I think, you know, this is commendable in many ways. I mean, look, listen, fair play to him. That looks like a lot of effort. It's certainly something I probably wouldn't do myself, but look, listen, fair play for going ahead and doing that. Something else that Buff Egan put out, of course, if we have a look right here, I think this picture shows how daft keeping the club gates closed is. And I mean, look, listen, that's a fair point, because a lot of these games are played on motorways. You know, a lot of GAA pitches are on motorways, and they're also, you know, it's not like they're closed off completely. There will be some people that will find ways to watch these games, and when you look at this image, you can see here, I mean, there's at least 40 or 50 people there, and I mean, none of them are social distancing or anything like that, and it's just, you might as well, if people are going to watch these games, you might as well get them into the stadium, at least have them socially distanced. And it just seems that the GAA are very behind in many ways in regards to this whole situation. I mean, another image that Buff Egan put out here, he said you can let a few hundred watch a match, and you can see all the people here kind of queuing up to go to a beach here in County Clare. And look, listen, I mean, the GAA are trying to follow protocol. They're trying to be as cautious as they can. It's good that they're being cautious, but I think at the same time, you know, if you're allowed to have a couple of hundred people in a shopping centre at one time, all socially distancing, queuing up to get into a Tesco or a Penny's, etc. Why can't you have them do this at a hurling or football match? You know, that's the big question here, and I think it's something that the GAA needs to really look and consider. There are a lot of people giving them wide criticism, you know, a number of pundits and whatnot, but look, listen, these people are not health experts. We need to go off what the health experts are saying, but I do think the GAA should consider letting, you know, at least 400 to 500 people in a stadium, especially if the capacity is 2,000-3,000 in my opinion. You could easily place them all out. I mean, the only problem would be, what if you did have a couple of idiots who tried to gang together or whatnot, and if other commotions happen. But I think at this stage people really do know of the whole circumstance, and of course, why not even have it mandatory for people who come and watch games to wear a face mask? I think that's something they should really look at doing, because in Dublin here, for example, any transport that you get, whether it's Dublin bus or the Dart, you have to wear a mask. And you know, I was on the Dart yesterday, for example, and the Dart was absolutely packed. A lot of people were wearing face masks, some people weren't, and it makes you think, you know, if you're able to do that, why not have it mandatory at games for people to wear face masks? I don't think people would mind then, because at least you're going to watch the game, and you know, people would probably only be there by themselves or in a group of 2 or something like that, so it's not like you'd need to speak to the person beside you. You just want to go and watch the game. So I think that's hopefully something the GAA will consider in the coming weeks, but we will have to see how they go about it, of course. Alright lads, that is going to be the end of the video. Do let me know down below what club games you had an eye on during the weekend, which matches you watched, of course, and what you thought of all the action in regards to some of the kind of tweets we've looked at here as well. Anyway, my name is Aaron. Do have a lovely week, and I'll see you later.